Hello everyone, we are back in MayaSZN Media and this is tapZQuad. Today I'm coming back on my new show MayaSZN to give you guys the best books as your new book plug. Now, before we get started, I just want to say that I am a massive person who reads. Well, not a massive person, but a person who reads a lot. And I feel like, don't read because your parents are telling you to read. To all of my younger audiences, don't read because your parents are telling you to read. Get a good book and read because you have a passion for it. Like, it's a good book and you want to read it, so you're going to read it on the basis that you enjoy the book and you're not being forced to read it. Otherwise, you're not going to enjoy it. It's that simple. My plug, thank you so much to Auntie Karen, who has given me these books. Well, most of them anyways. And let's get started. Our first book that we're going to be reviewing is one by Sarah Crossan. Sorry. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of summary. This book is based on twins who are conjoined. They go through the basis of being normal teenagers while trying to live as normal teenagers, dealing with the hardships of being conjoined. And they go through trying to find love, trying to do normal teenager things. And although it's hard for them, they do end up finishing off the bucket list they made. They go through the basis of living as normal teenagers, but obviously it's hard, and they just have to learn to live their lives without having to stress about what other people say, even though it's hard for them. They still do. And I'm not going to tell you guys what happens at the end because I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but it's a really good book. So go to your local library and find this book. Now, first impressions. I feel like, I'm not trying to be colorist or whatever you call it. The cover is pink. Any good book you find, most of the time it's pink. I'm not being biased. That's just how it is. Next one, self-esteem. Where did you find this book? Was it a recommendation? I actually found this book at school. So I was bored and I was looking for a new book. I had read, I think, Knots and Crosses prior to this. And I was looking for a book that would really catch my attention. And when I saw the front, I already knew. Also, I think it was also a new book that the librarian had actually recommended to me. So go to your school and get one, please. There wasn't really a genre with this book. It was really just about the twins, Tippy and Grace. Actually, let me even show you guys the inside, because it's something really cool about this book is that it's actually in the form of poetry almost. So on each page, I don't think you guys can see. Can you see it? Hopefully you can. It just has a title. It's not really like a normal chapter book where it's just words and then there's chapter number. It's actually just poetry. Well, in the form of poetry, if you guys what I'm trying to say. My favorite plot twist, it's not my favorite because it's kind of sad, but one of them do die at the end, so it is pretty sad. And then the other sister has to live without her, and it's hard for her because they go through the process of being split up, and it's just really hard for her. They just get up to a lot of things within the book. When you read it, you understand. When I read this book the first time, it took me 2 weeks. When I read it the second time, it took me a week, and a week on a few days. I want to say a week and a few days. It's really on how fast you can read. I didn't really find it relatable in a sense because obviously I'm not a conjoined twin, but there was a lot of things like social media appearances that they had to struggle with, which I felt I could relate to. The author actually has written a lot of books like Moonrise. I think I've read Moonrise. I can't remember. This is the book. Go to your library and get one. Don't read it because you're forced. Read it because you want to. Right. This is our second book, guys. Hidden Lessons from Maureen. I don't want to butcher her name. So this book is about how she was a teacher. I don't know if she's still a teacher, but she was a teacher. And she writes about her experience of being a teacher. From the first impressions of the book, you can really see like how much she cares about her students, especially from the blurb, I should say. It really gives you an insight on like how much she cares about her students. Like she says, when I speak to some of my ex-students who are in their 20s now, older than I was when I used to teach them, I realized how I was little more than a child myself, thrown into a deep end with no armbands or floats. I turned 30 with no kids of my own because I devoted every living second to looking after other people's children, yet I have no regrets. I cherish every memory, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But when I think about that bright-eyed, bouncy-haired, 21-year-old girl bursting with enthusiasm, oblivious to any real tragedy, I hardly recognize her now. My auntie gave me this book. Shout out to Auntie Karen, my book plug. thank you so much for this book. I actually saw it on her bookshelf and it really captivated my eye, maybe because it was pink, but it captivated my eye, and I was like, oh, what's this book? She sent me, I should just take it home. So I was like, thank you so much. To be honest, you can kind of really see what the book's going to be about, obviously by the blurb. So I was captivated by the blurb, especially. That's what really drew me into the book. Not even the colour, to be fair. It was just the blurb. So there wasn't really any plot twist. It just gives you insight on the fact that teachers actually have lives. Now, me as a 15-year-old year 10 student, I didn't really think that my teachers had lives, but until I read this book that gave me like, look, your teachers actually care about you. Well, this teacher definitely does, because she describes her students in such a loving sense, and it's really sweet when you read the book. But please, just want you guys to see it again. Okay, were there any subplots you found engaging or distracting? I think she does end up liking someone, I think, towards the end. I don't really know, but it is very interesting. Did the pacing feel rushed or slow? This book took me, I want to say 2 weeks to read, or 3 weeks. I finished it the other day and I'm actually going to reread it just because of how good it was. Did you find any of the characters relatable? So she does do really well in her GCSEs, and she does do a bit of cramming for it, and I feel like that's going to be me next year. I'm scared. Were there any friendships or romances that stood out? I think she had a romance with one of her colleagues at one point, and it was really interesting to see like them having to, you know, go through being at school together, working together after hours, and you can really tell that she really liked him. How did the characters develop throughout the story? I feel like her as a teacher, she really developed, because she starts out a bit scared, a bit like timid, and then she then gains sort of power, and it's really good to see, because I think she's worked teacher for like 20 something years. And yeah, she just really enjoys it. Did the setting feel immersed and believable? It felt like any school setting, to be honest. Now, in this book, it actually relates to a lot of problems with our world right now. So social media and stuff like that. I remember her talking about certain things that were happening, and students were influencing other students into doing things. And her student outside of school had done something which involved knife crime. It's a lot, and it really does let you know that some teachers actually care. And yes, you may be like, oh, teachers are just there to annoy me and ruin my life. Oh my gosh. No, teachers like her actually care, and reading this book really made me understand that. So there are certain lengths that teachers take just for the fact that they care about you. It did make me realize how much I am going to the real world next year after my GCSEs, and I'm really gonna have to learn to suck certain things up and just get on with it. That's why I love this book so much. I can hands down say this is my favorite book right now, but I'm probably being biased because I just read it. But when I get a new book, probably next week, I am going to read another one. So thank you so much to Auntie Karen for giving me this book. Both of the authors, well done with your books, because they are amazing. Again, I'm going to show you guys Hidden Lessons on one. You guys can see the people in the front. The covers are pink. Maybe I'm just biased, but... And thank you so much for watching. This has been MayaSZN, and I'll see you guys in the next book review. Please like and subscribe. Bye guys.